It's time for Mornings at 8 with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
Well, yes, it is time for Mornings at 8, and here we are. It is 5 minutes after 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning, which means it's practically Friday. One more little day, and there you go. Now, 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 this gentleman is accused of choking somebody inside the county office building, allegedly. And if you, why, it'd be pretty hard to hide that, I think. Okay, choking somebody inside the county office building. Okay, it's a strange world out there. Oh, speaking about the county office building, coming up on the Newsmaker this morning, the guest will be Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard. So that's coming up after the 8:30 news. Okay, yesterday I had a story. Was it yesterday? Either yesterday or the day before. Anyway, there was a lady in Florida where she, her husband, and their 11-year-old daughter were in their home at night, and two guys broke in, and they pulled out a gun. They pistol whipped the man, the husband, and they pistol whipped him. And the lady, with really used her head, stayed calm and cool, went and grabbed an AR-15 and shot one of these guys. So, yeah. So, using her head, staying calm and cool, and not panicking, she got this AR-15 and shot this guy. So, there's an example of having, a firearm in your house. So that's what happened in Florida, in Tampa, Florida, I believe, if I recall. And so, was it Tuesday? It was Tuesday of this week. And this was in Genesee County. A 76-year-old man and his wife are at home at 9 o'clock at night. And they're home at 9 o'clock at night, and this guy breaks in. And he has a gun, and he stuffed it in the guy's face, and said, give me your money or I'll kill you or something like that. So the 76-year-old So there's another example of being armed is not really a bad idea. As a matter of fact, it's probably a pretty good idea. So that went on in Genesee County. Now, the guy who was shot, what was his name? A 36-year-old Charles Cooper is currently in the hospital. And as soon as he's out, charges are going to be pending against him. But the homeowner, of course, is not charged. So there's another example of, being armed is not really a bad idea. So what else have we here? I was thinking this morning, Blade Runner. One of my favorite movies of all time is Blade Runner. It came out in 1982. And it was a big hit at the time. And I don't know how many times I've seen that movie, about a half a dozen times or something. It's a great movie. It takes place in Los Angeles, Blade Runner. And it stars Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer. I think Rutger Hauer died this year. He was a Dutch guy with blonde hair or something. Anyway, Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, and Daryl Hannah, and a bunch of other people. I don't recall. And it takes place in Los Angeles in November of 2019. So Blade Runner takes place in Los Angeles, November 2019. And if you look at the calendar, this is November of 2019. And I don't know who wrote the movie. It was directed by Ridley Scott. But that movie was so far ahead of its time, because Los Angeles, as it was envisioned in 1982 by the writers, whoever they were, is totally dystopic. It's dysfunctional. It's hopeless. It's helpless. It's a very violent place, dark, disturbing, distressing. It's very noir, I think would be the word. So the whole movie is really dark. And it takes place in a totally dysfunctional Los Angeles. And as a matter of fact, if I recall, it rains throughout the entire movie. It's either raining or drizzling or something. And it's literally dark. The only bright lights are the neon lights. And you really don't know if it's day or night. It's a great movie, absolutely great movie. but they have replicants. They have flying cars. We don't have flying cars yet, but we're probably pretty close at some point here. A number of people are working on them. And we don't have replicants yet, but we probably will at some kind of point here in the future. And the streets of Los Angeles are packed with human debris, shuffling along, totally aimless and pointless and, hopeless. It's really a dark movie. I mean, it really is a dark movie, even though it's a absolutely great movie. And I'm thinking, I just thought of this. Remember Gary Gray? Gary Gray was the morning guy here for years and years.
Oh, yeah.
Was that Arthur Godfrey?
That was Gary Gray imitating Arthur Godfrey.
Okay. Anyway, so so Gary Gray got a bit part in Blade Runner. And what they did was they put him in a nun's outfit, or traditional nun's garb or clothing or something. So Gary Gray I think Gary Gray is about 6'1" or 6'2", and he's kind of a big guy. So his role in this movie is just kind of walking along on the sidewalk, just the part of the people moving down the sidewalk. And so Gary Gray played a 6'1" or 6'2" nun in this movie. And he told me stories about behind the scenes on Blade Runner. And, well, man, if you think it was dark and distressing on the screen, it was pretty dark and distressing behind the scenes. Man, that had to be a real scene. Anyway, and I was thinking, there was Los Angeles as depicted in 1982 for 2019, and that movie was so on the money. I mean, it was so on the money because the stories coming out of Los Angeles and California in general, well, let's say L.A., right now there are 60,000, approximately, it's really hard to tell, how do you know? More than 60,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. There's human waste, literally on the streets. There are diseases that haven't been seen in a long time making a comeback in Los Angeles. So the whole place is totally dysfunctional. So this movie was just way far ahead of its time. Only this is real. This is real stuff going on out there. And then I think you can't really out-fiction reality. And there's no fiction that's stronger or stranger than real life. So that was a movie. But Los Angeles now, that's real life, if you want to call it real life. Anyway, something else that's going on in California. They have totally destroyed that state. At one time, it was a very, very nice place. But I don't think you could pay me to go even on a vacation now. There is no way I would want to be in California under any circumstances. And they also have something called California, Proposition 47. And that was approved in, when was this, 2014? Anyway, it was passed by a wide margin in 2014. And essentially what Proposition 47 does is it gives a get-out-of-jail-free card, or rather, don't even go to jail at all card, to shoplifters and thieves. That's what it does. And the voters of California, I don't know what's happened to them, man. I really don't. But they approved this stupid thing. And Proposition 47, it was a referendum that critics say effectively gives shoplifters and addicts the green light to commit crimes as long as the merchandise they steal or the drugs they take are less than $950. The decision to downgrade theft of property value below the arbitrary figure from felony to misdemeanor, and that's together with selective enforcement that focuses on more serious crimes, has resulted in thieves knowing they can shoplift and merchants knowing the cops will not respond to their complaints. That's what the critics say. So, as I said, it passed by a wide margin. Now, how could people possibly have done that? But I don't know, that's what they did in California. So shopkeepers and retail stores, I mean, shoplifting is like a vocation out there. Like you can say, well, I'm a plumber, or maybe I'm a teacher, or this and that. Well, I'm a shoplifter. That's how they make their money, is by shoplifting. because as long as what you take is under $950, you're free to go essentially. So it's what kind of crazy lunacy is that? That's really bizarre. And the shop owners say that it happens every day, hour by hour. People just walk in, take stuff, and run out, or maybe walk out, because the cops aren't going to be called, and if they are, they'll probably ignore it. But that's how California's going, and that's just one of the things wrong out there. But then it isn't just in Los Angeles. It's in San Francisco, and it's in Oakland, and it's in San Diego, and it's in Santa Barbara. It's all over the place. That's really strange stuff. Man, it really is. I mean, we have our problems here in New York. But honestly and truly, I think it could be way, way worse. It could be California. So think of that. Every day you wake up, well, at least I don't live in California. Okay, that's good. That's a good start. Speaking of California, how's everything going at the southern border? Other than heavily armed drug cartels ambushing Americans and murdering them. Other than that, or smuggling over $100 million worth of drugs every day or something, Let's see how the things are going there. Illegal immigrant population inside U.S. surged 550,000 in 2019. And this is from the Princeton Policy Advisors. The illegal immigrant population that entered the United States from the southwest border region jumped 550,000 this year, a combination of those who crossed the U.S.-Mexico border undetected and those released into the country after being apprehended at key border crossings, according to a new report. And the numbers break down this way. Let me see here. Approximately 350,000 children traveling alone and adults with children were likely released into the U.S. That's 350,000 right there. Approximately 200,000 crossed the border undetected. The illegal population of the U.S., if we include asylum seekers in that group, will have increased by 550,000 in fiscal year 2019, and that's according to immigration analyst Stephen Koppitz, president of Princeton Policy Advisors. And in his analysis, Koppitz used the historical averages for illegal immigrants let into the country while their claims for asylum and other freedoms work through the legal system. So, however, Koppitz noted that the administration's diplomatic agreement to get Mexico to hold immigrants seeking to cross the border is working. He noted that some 50,000 immigrants were deported to holding areas in Mexico. Still, the added 550,000 he estimated now in the country is more than half the 850,000 apprehended at the U.S. border in fiscal 2019. What a mess. What a total mess. And there are people here who are saying, well, ICE is bad and we should do away with ICE. And it's no, sure, if I just open the border. Just open the border. And if you do come across the border, go to California because you could probably make a lot of money shoplifting or something. I mean, the whole thing's crazy. The whole thing is totally crazy. You've got an automatic job, shoplifting. You have health care. I don't know. It's just really weird. But just to show you that the weirdness is not limited to the United States, and this is just like this. This is from Breitbart. How about the UK? Let's cross over the ocean and go to England. Okay, now we're in England, and it's Oxford University. This is okay. Oxford University bans clapping to keep people from being triggered. Okay, how does this work? Student union representatives at the University of Oxford passed a motion to ban clapping and replace it with silent jazz hands waving, insisting that applause could trigger anxiety. Now, jazz hands is like, let me see, how do you explain that? You put your arms at your side, and then you lift your hands up to about, maybe like face high or shoulder high, and then you wave your hands like this. Okay, so this is clapping, and this is jazz hands. The idea being The motion to mandate the encouragement of silent clapping proposed using the more inclusive British Sign Language symbol for clapping known as silent jazz hands in place of audible applause. Okay, the clapping ban would affect student union meetings and events where traditional clapping and cheering presents an access issue to those with anxiety disorders. Jazz hands. Okay, no more clapping. Officers at the student union contended that traditional applause, whooping, foot stomping, and other loud noises presented, quote, an access issue for some disabled students who have, quote, anxiety disorders, sensory sensitivity, and those who use hearing aids. Sabbatical officer Royce McCallion says the change is specifically aimed at making events, quote, more inclusive and accessible to all. Okay, the policy was proposed in order to encourage the use of British Sign Language clapping during our democratic events, to make those events more accessible and inclusive for all, including people who suffer from anxiety. Inclusivity is one of the student union's founding principles, McCallion said. So, let's have a cheer, although a quiet one, for jazz hands clapping or no clapping. This is Oxford University. Okay, so they could possibly be triggered. How about another one? This is from the UK too, and this is Leeds Trinity University. Capital letters trigger students. Leeds Trinity University in the United Kingdom has told its lecturers to avoid using capital letters in their classroom handouts because they upset students and can, quote, scare students into failure. This is Leeds Trinity University. The journalism department at Leeds Trinity University has cautioned its instructors against writing in capital letters on classroom paperwork instructions because capital letters can trigger certain students. Instructors in the department received a memo that stated that uppercase lettering can scare students into failure. Despite our best attempts to explain assessment tasks, any lack of clarity can generate anxiety and even discourage students from attempting the assessment at all, the memo adds. Okay, yes, sir. A spokesman for the university said that the memo was written to teach lecturers better understand how they might help students reach their full potential. So that's Leeds Trinity University and Oxford University, and baby, look out, because I think that we are really in trouble. But have no fear, because we have insurance. Although I don't know if it would help in the case of jazz hands or capital letters. It might, who knows. Anyway, the Ryan agencies, huh? Your local insurance experts. And the Ryan agencies, with offices in Hornell, Jasper, and Wellsville, they're like having your own personal insurance advisor. At the Ryan agencies, they represent you, not a single insurance company, putting you first. The Ryan Insurance Agencies works to find the best price, coverage, and service for you. They work to find insurance that match your unique needs and budget. They offer you the best insurance value, and they're experts in your unique insurance needs. Now, what's the common word there? You, because you are the important one at the Ryan Agencies.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
Checking games of note in the NBA, the Bucks beat the Clippers in LA 129-124. Milwaukee improves to 6-2 on the season. Reigning league MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo led them with 38 points, 16 rebounds, and 9 assists. For the Clippers, they dropped to 5-3. Their star Kawhi Leonard was given the night off to rest. Clippers have played 8 games. That's Kawhi's second game off for rest. Jazz over the 76ers 106-104. Rockets beat the Warriors 129-112. James Harden 36 points, 13 assists for Houston. Golden State drops to 2-6 on the year. Mavericks edge the Magic 107-106. Dallas is 5-2 to start the season. Top 25 college basketball. Number 9 North Carolina wins its opener over Notre Dame 76-65. Cole Anthony had 34 points. He's scored the most points by a freshman in Tar Heels history in their debut. Number 11 Virginia beats Syracuse 48-34. It's the fewest points scored for the Orange in the Carrier Dome in their history.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report. stocks falling as investors sifted through a slew of earnings reports today, with the Dow falling 19 points, the Nasdaq down 49, S&P 500 down 3. And shares of plant-based meat company Beyond Meat were far from sizzling today on Wall Street, falling over 22%, marking the end of Beyond Meat's lockup period. For the first time since its IPO, early investors can sell the stock. Now, despite the sell-off, Beyond Meat reported a much bigger profit than expected for its third quarter. Shares of Mattel spiking after hours, around 18%, after the toy maker posted better than expected earnings for the third quarter, as newer models boosted demand for its flagship Barbie brand, and the launch of dolls based on Korean pop sensation BTS lifted international sales. Mattel also announcing it will be hiring a new chief financial officer in the wake of a whistleblower investigation relating to its accounting practices. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. And right now, get your first online visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. forhims.com/joy.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Hyundai, drive away in a new Hyundai Tucson lease for only $229 a month. A new 2019 all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE model equipped with 17-inch alloy wheels, touchscreen media, and rear view monitor. Lease with no money down for $229 a month for 36 months. Only tax and DMV fees are due at signing. Shop Simmons-Rockwell.com.
Okay, and we are back. Let me see here. You think you have trouble with, I don't know, leaves or curves or some kind of work on your property or something? Well, here's a guy in Canada. He was in Winnipeg, and he says that hit the curb in front of his house. The curb in front of his house was damaged in 1993 by a snow removal machine. So he called the city, said, hey, this curb is broken, and it's really got to be fixed. And that was in 1993. And they still haven't gotten around to it. They said that in some fashion his request to have his curb fixed was lost. So he's got to get back on this list again. And they have given him a target date for the repairs of June 26th, 2037. This is 2019. So the curb was damaged in 1993 by the city, and it won't be fixed until 2037. Okay? So there you go. He's a little upset, and there you go. Okay, one more here. Let me see. Well, this is from CNN. An elderly man died. This isn't funny. An elderly man died after falling into a lava tube on his property in Hilo, Hawaii. The man was reported missing after he wasn't heard or seen in several days, according to the cops there. When they went to his home on Monday, they discovered the man had plummeted 22 feet below the surface through a soft area of ground on his property into a lava tube. Now, what's a lava tube? A lava tube is a natural channel through which lava travels beneath the surface. Tubes formed by crusting over lava channels and flows. And Komana Caves Park near Hilo is a destination for hikers that can explore the lava tubes created in 1881 from Mauna Loa. So, the cops say this guy was out there trimming branches when he fell through the soft ground. Rescue teams were able to rappel into the lava tube and bring the man back up, but he was pronounced dead at a local hospital. So there you go. And they say that he died from the fall, not from anything else, so there's no foul play. But there you go. Some days are like that. 1 minute you're trimming a tree, and suddenly you fall into a lava tube. Some days are like that, and they're like really unavoidable. You think they would be, but I guess not. Okay, there you go, and that's it for this morning, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8:05. Bye.